you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pierce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pierce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like Kenta muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the venue, best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got two is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. My name is Lachlan Albert, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. 1-800 Lasagna himself, a man who always chooses violence, Jeff Setti. Jeff, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Okay, how are you, big lock dog?
Oh, good to see you, my man. And we are both joined by New Japan expert Todd Eastman. This is going to be intolerable. Todd,
it's a great day.
How you doing, man?
This is a great day.
It's
so good.
Should we?
Good.
We should do it now, shouldn't we? We should do it now. Because
right.
we got a message from someone congratulating you for being spot on with the New Japan predictions. Have you got it set up, Lachlan?
If this is fucking Wheeler Yuta again, I swear to God.
Hang on. Yeah. I just got to click on it. Ready?
Okay. This is your congratulations. And from us.
Hey, Toddy, this is Wheeler Yuta. Your uncles told me you're a big fan, so I just wanted to thank you for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate you cheering for me, rooting for me, giving you all that support. Sorry, I don't always.
Let's cut it there.
Let's cut it there.
Thank you.
Little 7-year-old Tardy.
Such haters. I mean.
So before we go any further, yes, Todd predicted both the final match and the final result of the New Japan G1 Climax. Jeff and I had our winner made it to the semi-final, made it to the final, I should say, but neither of us picked his opponent for the final or the final winner. Todd got them both. Well done, Todd.
I just wish there was a sports bet for that, because I was thinking about it at work. I'm like, I could have cleaned up on that, because we picked that at the start of the tournament.
We did.
Before I think first matches had happened.
And I just want to shout out, and I'll mention this later, obviously, but both the semis and the final were fucking incredible matches.
Phenomenal.
Tsuji is definitely they put him in that spot, taking nothing away from Todd being correct about ZSJ, and ZSJ himself, who's a phenomenon. He's won both the New Japan Cup and the G1 now, if you're keeping score. But it was just a great tournament. What a wonderful tournament. Loved it.
Absolutely.
Loved it.
We will talk more about that later because we normally have the second half of the show as our international half. And this first half of the show, we get to talk about Aussie wrestling. So first of all, if you're interested in chatting Aussie wrestling, twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia is the place to do it. Like Alex Fireheart, who said, I was hoping Zach would win, so nice to have him win the whole thing. Always good to see you there, Alex. So come along.
I could have told you when this tournament started. I mean, I did.
It is nice to see him win, but with him winning comes fucking idiot on the other side, gloating non-stop. Just non-stop
On topic, boys, we this week are reviewing Renegades of Wrestling. We Choose Violence. This is a show from a couple of weeks ago that made its way onto YouTube this past Friday night. So if you want to see this show, and I can't see any reason not to, head on over to YouTube, search for Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence. It'll pop right up there. You can click on it and watch the whole show for free. It's hard to go past that deal. Absolutely amazing for 2.5 hours of, without spoiling anything, really good wrestling. Like this, I think, was a really entertaining show. Jeff told us that from being there. And, I mean, there's not much more you can ask for than a show like this. So let's kick it off. Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence opened with a Secure Your Future Fatal 4-Way. Hector Jones, Jake Taylor, Sam Yanis, and JXT in a Fatal 4-Way match where the winner gets a title match of their choice at any time in the future. This one taken out by Sam Yanis in a very interesting decision, considering his former tag team partner, Levi Nixon, recently joined the Ambush after winning that ring that entitles him to a title match. So there's an element of, is there going to be a tag team title opportunity there? But unlikely, considering Levi seems to not be interested. There was even a little hint of the two facing off later in the show. What did you think, Todd, of the decision to have Sam Yanis win this one?
Well, look, there's the problem I have at the moment with this whole thing is that there are plot holes you could drive a truck through when I look at certain things. Like Levi joined Ambush. You've got like Sam Yanis, who's his tag partner. It's taken him 3 months to get to him just running into him backstage and giving him a look and then walking off. Do you know what I mean? There's been no, like, what are you doing, man? Nothing going on like that before this. And we're like 3 shows deep into him joining the team. Joining that faction. The match itself was fine. The match itself was good. But it was a lot of, like, because it's like 4 minutes, I think. So it was hard to get a lot of stuff out of the way in there. Also, having Jake in there after Jake had just won the Wrestle Rock Championship. Yep. And then not have him win that match is a little weird. Just because, like, that's a champion. Maybe if you're going to have him on there with the belt, you would showcase him. You would put him into a match with somebody that he could just beat. Just to showcase him a little bit. But it's like, I will say that I really did like Lindsay and Rig on commentary. I thought they were really good. Yeah, Phil. I thought it was really good, really interesting, really entertaining.
Yeah, I think they made a good team.
I haven't watched it since I saw it live. Todd would say I don't like doing the homework. I would say I got a lot going on, as you both know. But look, I remember I like this a lot. Unlike Todd, I like the Sam Yanis, Levi Nixon dynamic still being there. I don't mind that because it just makes it kind of interesting to see. Is Yanis now going to go to the Ambush and try and get on their good graces? I mean, there's so many opportunities here to go with this story that I don't mind it. And I like that they're putting these two guys in quite prominent positions.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just the fact that it's been 3 months and all you've seen is those two running. If they were tag partners, if they were like supposedly mates, you'd think you'd see something before 3 months into it going, like, either going, where have you been, man? Like, you're not answering any of my phone calls. You're not doing anything. What's going on? to anything. Do you know what I mean? The fact that there was nothing except just a look and a smirk and a walk off. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I kind of understand that, but I also I like that there's so many options. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Andy pointing out the plot hole goes back before the heel turn. Levi won the Rumble match at Essendon before he even won the ring. Why wasn't Giannis expecting it would lead to a tag shot back that far? So there's that element as well that, you know, it extends back quite a long way. I think having guys like Jake Taylor and JXT really do cement that this was a signature win for Giannis, even though, you know, it didn't go very long, especially when you've got 4 guys in the ring and Giannis got a roll-up win on Hector Jones, more or less. I think that it was a good match for the time they had, and I think that a lot of this show went reasonably quickly so that they could give a good amount of time to the matches that needed it. So I'm not going to complain too much about the time, but I do think that if this match was given a bit more time, it might have felt a bit bigger. Moving on to another match, Tali and Charlie Rose going one-on-one. Of course, this extends from Charlie Rose and her partner, I guess, Rochelle Rogue, trying to take over the women's division. Tali feeling that she was cost her shot at the Renegades of Wrestling Women's Championship, but managing to get the win here by elimination, by DQ over Charlie Rose when interference came in from Rochelle Rogue. This obviously setting up the future as Katie Lux had to come out and even the score for Tali. What did we think of this one, Jeff? Yeah,
Locke, you might want to just disconnect and reconnect because you're very... you sound a lot like T-Pain at the moment.
Okay, so before Lachlan disconnected and reconnected, he asked me what I thought of this. I didn't mind this. It was just very, very quick, Todd. I'm now Lachlan. It was very, very quick.
Hello, Lachlan.
Hello. I would have liked either a couple more minutes or just complete destruction. Like as soon as Charlie walked out, they managed Rochelle for a little bit. And there was some, I don't know if it was in the video, but Andy from Bob Vance Refrigeration's mentioning there was something that happened at the end that was really, really a bit glitchy, and it was on Botchamania. But look, I you can kind of forgive that. That happens in the heat of the moment. But if it was going to be a DQ, I'd want it to be a DQ from the off. I really would.
Yeah.
And then have Katie run out with the chair and run Charlie and Rochelle off.
Yeah, like I understand why they're doing it because they're moving this story along to eventually get to like a tag or something like that. But if you were going to do this, then just do the tag first. Yeah, I think. Rather than
the problem is the problem to do that is that Katie was booked later. So Katie was in the semi. Well,
I know, but she didn't have to be booked there. Do you know what I mean? That was really a match for to have a match to have Aisha and Emin booked on the show. That's what that match was there for. Like they could have grabbed any other girl, really, if they wanted to put her in that spot, because they'd sort of already established when, like, Katie had come out and saved Tali the month before when they did the debut and all that. They sort of established that they could have done that tag team match on this show. But like I understand what they were doing because they had to find a match for Emin and Aisha. But it felt really quick and it just felt like it was just there. It's just here's something. It felt like almost something they could have done on a promo.
I'm not entirely arguing with you, but I think this is like Tali's incredibly popular, and this was to get her on the show. Because otherwise, people start going, "Where's Tali?"
And to move that storyline forward, keep that continuing on.
Yeah, and to keep the storyline going. Quite right. But yeah, I just think it could have been a bit longer.
Yeah,
or,
absolutely.
As you say, a tag match.
Yeah. Moving on, Levi Nixon, we spoke about before, the holder of that ring, facing off against Caveman Ugg, who maybe rightfully the former Renegades champion. Hard to argue that he would have been a better shot at holding that title if not for Levi Nixon. I love watching Caveman Ugg wrestle. I could watch him wrestle anyone for any length of time and enjoy it.
Yes, Jeff.
Todd?
No, Jeff was doing this, so it's like he had a thought.
I'm just wondering if I've got a long vegetable in my fridge.
Sorry, caveman egg.
Caveman egg. A long yellowy vegetable in my fridge. You could call it an extended squash. Which is what I'm calling this match. It really was. I would have liked to have seen Levi just get in a little bit more sneaky heel offense. I don't quite think he got enough in to be credible. And if he's joining the ambush, I want him to be a bit more credible. I want him to not just run in at the end of the show and tease a turn one way or the other, but actually be a bit sneaky. Even if it's only going to last a year, really right into it. And get him to throw powder in Ugg's eyes or something to just give him a bit more of a reason to boo him.
You've got to say though, he was getting the reactions out of the crowd. Like the one thing I really did like about this match was that Levi really did work the crowd when he had those few opportunities that he had to get a little bit of heat on. He really did work the crowd. He wasn't just like ignoring them and just working Ugg and getting offense on Ugg. He was turning to work the crowd, which is really good. It's hard sometimes when you're filling that role as a heel if you've only been a babyface for a long time to maybe concentrate on the offense more so you can get over that you're a heel more. Instead, he's really working into the character, which I enjoyed. I thought this was, for what it was good. It was always going to be that way just because of the size disparity between the two. And if you're not going to have the other guys from the ambush come in and help you, then that's pretty much the match you're going to get.
I would have had a count out finish and had Levi win by someone in the ambush being under the ring and grabbing the foot, and then Ugg dragging them out.
Yeah, but they already had a lot of there was already a lot of like fuckery going on the card.
Yeah,
so
there was something in the main event. Hey, Nick Galea's in the chat. He thought Levi got more than expected. He liked the idea that he prevails when he's a traditional babyface, but falters when he's a snarky prick. It's a morality tale. I don't mind that, Nick. I think that's pretty good. Tell me, are Levi and Sam heels in PCW? I haven't kept up recently, but I thought they were in a stable with Lochy O'Leary. If you could let me know, Nick, that'd be great.
Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, I really thought Levi should have gotten the win. When you consider the show as a whole, it is and was far too early for an ambush bloodbath. They only just took all the gold. And Nick Galea confirms, yes, serious heel team.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, so interesting thoughts there. Look, I thought Levi got a little more offense than I expected to see in this one. It's not often you see people take control in a match against Caveman Ugg, but I do kind of agree that I think if he had cheated to get the win, it would have lent more into the credibility of him as someone who can cash in and become champion. But I also like Nick's pull of this being a morality tale where he can't win when he's cheating. He has to be a good guy to win. So
that's not a bad idea. I don't mind that.
Yeah, it was also hard to, because like if I look at the balance of this card, baby faces went over for the majority of it. Like out of the 9 matches, I can't even, like if you count Kenta as a heel, then that Kenta and Lochy were like the only 2 heels that won.
I think Jake Andrew Arthur is a heel who won. We'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, that's true. But that
no. Jake is your idol. Jake
will talk
the OLY, and we do not criticize Jake or call him a heel. God, no.
We'll talk about that soon. The next match was a street fight. Tyson Reed with Chloe St. James versus Cracker Jack with Chloe St. James handcuffed to the ring post. Before we get into any more of this match, I liked handcuffed to the ring post as a gimmick for it, right? Because the band from ringside and the inner shark cage and whatever, handcuffed to the ring post meant that she was present. She was able to do all of the character work. She was close enough to interfere in the match while there being a reason for Crackerjack as a character to be satisfied that she wouldn't get involved. Even though we know as wrestling fans, the odds of her staying out of the match for that full time is basically zero. Right? So I think that was a really clever choice. And I also really liked the way that Chloe St. James got released from the handcuffs. Wasn't with a key. It wasn't something dainty and little and fiddly. It was a big old pair of bolt cutters. So it was really obvious what was happening. And it didn't take a long time. Bolt cutters on, snap, handcuffs are detached. Right? Because I think that handcuffs are one of the things that so often goes wrong in these matches where they try to undo them. Having the bolt cutters as the solution to that, I think, was a great choice. Crackerjack's style is so Crackerjack style in a street fight. And it's almost a match that I've seen from him a bunch of times, right? He's got the staple gun with drawings of dicks that he staples to his opponent. He goes, there's the big board in the corner that gets gone through at the end. He's got barbed wire wrapped around his arm that he's using to bash the other guy and complaining about how much it hurts him. It's so the Crackerjack formula that the night before this event, I saw basically the same match up here in Brisbane. Because Crackerjack had a match with Moko Kai up here that was, other than the involvement of Chloe St. James, near identical. Right? And
it's his house show match, right?
Yeah, that's right. And like Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, Crackerjack is in ridiculous shape for a man his age who's taken his level of punishment and who has had as many years off as he did. Like, absolutely can't argue with it. I think that it's not my style of match, so I'm always working against that when I watch Crackers. And he's also a very vocal wrestler, which I normally like, but I feel like it can interrupt sometimes the flow of the match as he stops to soliloquize a little bit. But I thought Tyson Reed really...
Are you really using the word soliloquize in this fucking... with this fan base?
Sorry, but we're a wrestling podcast. Soliloquize has about 4 syllables. No one knows what it means. Speak English, mofo.
When Crackers talks a lot between moves...
I don't like him talk to crowd.
Okay. There we go. There we go. Fuck. I got dizzy when you said soliloquize.
I thought Tyson Reed did really well in his spot. I thought, having Crackerjack duck Chloe St. James' spitting monster in order to blind Tyson and have him take the spear through the board was good. I hate boards. I'm sick of boards. I don't like tables much to begin with.
Yeah, but you know why, though? Because you can't get the tables anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You can't buy them.
Don't exist.
I know this is very much not like a wrestling thing. You just can't buy the tables anymore.
Yeah,
that's an honest to God problem that Australian wrestling have. We're not like America where you just...
You are now listening to Todd Eastman soliloquize about the availability
of... Bunnings really fucked us on that.
Nick Galea says Reed taking Crackers' comedy and formula and turning it on him was fun. Crackers has a Wile E. Coyote thing of his plans end up turning on him. I will say, brainbuster onto a shopping trolley, completely insane.
Yeah.
That was wild. Jeff, what did you think of this one? You were in the building?
Yeah, look, the thing about Crackerjack, especially when you see it live, is it is an entertaining thing. It's an entertaining piece. I think Crackerjack is probably not likely to win any titles at this point in his career, but to do the match he does, if you go out there and watch it, you're going to have a laugh and you're going to have some fun. You are quite right. He is in incredible shape, but look at who his brother is. Because they're both in amazing shape, both he and brother Gore, very, very, very good shape. I like this match a lot. I like what Renegades are doing with Tyson and Chloe. I think they're a great act. They're a lot of fun. And I like what they're doing. They're kind of putting them in there against the top names. So clearly he's got a real something good about him. Great English, Jeff.
Sounds like that's going to continue as well. Todd, what did you think of this matchup?
Okay, so You talked about the handcuffs being a great step for it and all that. Yeah, Lock?
Yep.
Why didn't they make a big deal about her getting handcuffed?
Yeah, I do think that having it just kind of happen during the entrances,
it just
kind of disturbed by while Cracker Jack's music was playing. I think they could have gotten some more heat off that.
I don't know if I don't know how divisive this will be amongst podcast listeners, but if you've ever watched and you've mentioned it before when you were talking about handcuffs and all this, any time that Jim Cornette had to get into a shark tank or a shark cage, that took 10 to 15 minutes to get him into that thing. Because he just flat out refused. He didn't want to do it. He was scared of heights. He was claustrophobic. He was all of these, to get the crowd booing them and just, get that little bit of extra heat. I'm not saying that she should have taken 15 minutes to do that. I'm just saying they could have made a little bit out of it where she was protesting and, obviously protesting to the point where, Tyson comes up to do something and Cracker spins him around and does something, and that's why when she's distracted, that's when the referee click, you're stuck.
Yeah.
That sort of deal.
It was the same whenever Jimmy Hart had to do anything outside of managing. He would make especially in Memphis, he would make so much damn noise. It was amazing to watch him.
Yeah.
If you've got a chance to watch the old Memphis show, don't hesitate. They're really fun. I agree with you about that. I think Chloe could have. I'm not getting handcuffed. How dare you? I'm an official manager holding up a piece
You're not arresting me, you dog.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know what I mean? It's just that. And
if you handcuff me, all Cracker Jack's going to do all night is soliloquize. Who will stop me?
It's true. He will.
He will. The other thing too is it was a good match. It was like you said, it was a Cracker Jack match, which is always going to be entertaining. He soliloquized with the crowd quite well during his thing to get his pops for the stapling of the stuff. The thing that did not fit at all, and I know it fed into something that was happening on later on the show, was Tyson's promo after the match. It's all cool to say that you don't, but then don't say that after you've just had your ass kicked. And it was to the point where, people in the crowd were pointing this out to him.
Yeah.
There were people in the crowd going, well, if he's that shit, mate, how come he just beat you? All this stuff, you know what I mean? When you're pointing out when the crowd are pointing out obvious things, then, if you're going to do it, to have him win that. To say, I'm sick of you dogs. Crackers was the start. I'm going through all you old bastards, blah, blah. But to get beaten by him and then say, I'm sick of you guys won't leave. That's it, I'm going to do it. So, well, if you were going to do it, mate, why didn't you do this before? You know what I mean? That was the only problem. And I know it fed into what was going on later on the night and what will probably go on going forward.
Well, it's an interesting thing because I agree with you completely. The other option they had was they had him cutting it as he's walking to the ring. Have him come out first and cut the promo, just going, all these old people here, look at who's headline, so on and so forth.
Yeah, but then Crackers beats you.
And then Crackers beats him. But he's already said it.
Yeah, I know, but he's already said it, then proven wrong.
I get why, because they wanted people to remember that for the main event. But yeah, there's a disconnect there. There's a disconnect. Nick says, best ever selling of a gimmick is the Mountie being terrified of spending a night in a New York jail. Yeah, that was funny. He acted like he was being dragged off to the electric chair.
Yes.
He did. He was brilliant.
Especially the part where they took his fingerprints.
Yeah.
You want a finger? You want a finger? Here's a finger. Yow! That was, I still remember that. It was so good.
Very good.
Good old Jacques Rougeau. Anyway, moving on. The next match on this card was Mitch Waterman and Murdoch going one-on-one. This is exactly my style of matchup. Very physical and hard-hitting, especially from Murdoch, who's got a style that I just adore. This one had Mitch Waterman taking it, having to not just deliver one finisher, but got the 2 count there and had to follow up to get a sizable win on his path to take down every member of the ambush on his way to Emin Usman. Todd, what did you think of this matchup?
This was good. This for me is because, like you, Lachlan, like the Cracker style of match isn't really my style.
No.
So this was the first match on the card that really sort of, for me, turned stuff around. I was like, oh, okay, this is a good match. Because I love Murdoch. I think Murdoch's got such a good upside to him if he just gets pushed into a bit of a more prominent position as just like a quote-unquote tag guy and into more of I can see him in a Kevin Owens-y type thing,
very
like
much.
eventually.
Yeah.
Mitch just came in with that pedigree of having worked MCW main events and been working on top for the last couple of years and traveling the world now. So he's come back and he's learned a few tricks, from doing mains. So he just knows how to work that type of match where he can give the guy something but still come out looking strong in the end. So this is a really good match for me. I thought this was really good.
Yeah, Jeff?
Look, I agree completely with absolutely everything you said. Murdoch is so good at what he does. They're almost running the risk of him being a face because his cannonball is impressive and all of his power moves are impressive. You're 100% correct. He does remind me of Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, especially more in the Ring of Honor era where he was carrying a little bit more weight. No offense, Murd. Love you, man. But I do like that Murdoch is surprisingly quick for someone of his size. He's very agile. He moves beautifully in the ring. A big fan. I think this was a terrific match. I agree with you. I like the Crackerjack match more than you both, but I think the show had a good rhythm to it, and that's probably why I liked it so much. But I really like this. And next month in September, Mitch has got Jarvis. So that'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Look, Waterman and Murdoch is one of those matches that's almost hard to talk about because it's just really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there aren't things to pick apart. There's not a lot to go, oh, this could have been done differently. It was just a really good, well put together match where it advances a story that's clearly got places to go. Good stuff, right? Moving on to something I think we will have a little more to talk about on. Jake Andrew Arthur OLY, defeating the Musketeer in 11 seconds for a new Renegades of Wrestling world record before making a speech, thanking everyone. The medal ceremony in which the Musketeer was awarded the silver medal and Jake was awarded the gold medal. And, of course, we heard the Australian national anthem for the victor, Jake Andrew Arthur, there. Very different from the Jake Andrew Arthur that we're used to seeing. Jeff, what was the reception in the building like for this character?
It was so funny. Like, Jake walked past us, and I shook his head and said, hey, Jake. He's like, I do it for people like you, mate. And then just kept walking. Like, it was so funny. He, look, the crowd, the clever thing about this is, yes, I agree, there are some heel mannerisms bubbling away underneath, but if it really gets over as a face, they can just quickly maneuver it away. This was just so funny. And then they played the national anthem, and people actually put their hand on the heart and joined in and things like that. So the crowd got in on the joke so quickly. So bloody quickly. And then the fact that they just laid the Musketeer down. And they just put him on his second play, and he laid there for the whole, 3 minutes of the stuff afterwards. It was just so funny. It really was a huge, huge turn from the final boss that we've had for about the past 3-4 years of Jake. So a really, really big and quick turn, but so funny. And Jake has so much charisma that you much like some others in wrestling, you're not aware of his charisma until he does something like this. And gosh, it was funny. Oh, it was so funny.
Todd?
Literally the only thing I would have changed about it, instead of fucking OLY, I would have made it AUS. Only because, like, we just finished watching the Olympics, and all those competitors don't have a number on the back. They have what country they're from. So, like, Australia is AUS. So have you done that? Like, because I just think, and this is not me shitting on it at all, I just think the OLY has a shelf life because it's Olympics. And then 4 years is gone, and then it comes back again. If you got OUS and you just like constantly like, I represent Australia, I'm an Olympic athlete, blah blah blah, then you can get away with it a bit. I think there's a bit more longevity in it. I love the character. I think the character is a heel gimmick, and the longer it keeps going, the more people will start getting sick of hearing the national anthem. Thank you very much, guys. I do it for you. Blah blah blah. They're gonna start hate. It's going to start annoying people, and when it does, that's when you'll find the real good character work start happening.
Especially when you get a 10-minute segment out of an 11-second match.
Yeah, Nick Galea just said Musketeer made this look amazing. He's still got a way to go, but this was a prime example of a guy who gets it. He absolutely did. Like, let's not. And there's a reason the Musketeer was chosen in this match. There's a reason. And it was just, it was so funny. And I agree with you again, Nick. He thinks that's what Jake should have been doing all along. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Alex Fireheart says, but what if they end up Bo leaving? And that's exactly what Jeff was saying, that this is a gimmick that can pivot to pure face if they need it to. But I agree with Todd. I think that this is going to get the jeers that it's looking for. I think the first time you do it, the freshness of it, the novelty is definitely going to pay with people.
The first time it's okay, that's pretty funny. The second time was okay, it's funny, but like I need to see a bit more. The third time they did, oh, for fuck's sake, mate, we get it, all right. You know what I mean? That's I think the progression they're going to get out of it, which is obviously by design.
Yeah, I absolutely. You know, it's pretty obvious that he is a heel. I was absolutely pulling the piss earlier, as you're aware, Lachlan. But I think this is great. This is great, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And as I said, it's awesome to see Jake display the charisma that a few of us know he's got. So, you know, on you, Jake, if you're listening in, mate.
Absolutely. After this was a title eliminator tag team match. The Ambush, Aisha and Emin Osman, the men's and women's Renegades World Champions, taking on the team of Katie Lux and Famous B, with the stipulation that if the challengers won, they would be entitled to title matches against the respective champions. Meanwhile, if the challengers lost, they would not be able to challenge for those titles. This ended with Katie Lux managing to get a roll-up victory over Aisha, ensuring that we will see Katie Lux versus Aisha and Famous B versus Emin for their titles. I like Famous B a lot. He's someone who, obviously, I'm a Lucha Underground diehard, so I always enjoy seeing Famous B. And I think, obviously, as we said before, this was a way to get Aisha and Emin onto the show, but it did accelerate long-term what their stories are going to look like, right? Katie Lux goes into a match against Aisha with a victory over her, so that theoretically puts a question mark around the title defense. Emin's got an international that he's got to go up against who technically has a victory over him. Like, I think it's an interesting way to get those titles moving forward. Jeff, what did you think of this as a tag match?
I liked parts of it. It didn't flow. I felt that there was a disconnect. Maybe it was because the crowd were a bit pumped up after the Jake thing, but there was just a little bit of a disconnect here. Saying that, I did enjoy it, particularly Famous B and Emin being in the ring together. I thought they had a really nice chemistry. Yeah, I just felt overall, and I can't put my finger on why. Maybe if you feel the same way, you can. But I just felt it didn't quite gel.
Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, I felt that Renegades was to be a spotlight for young Melbourne talent. I'm not sure how Famous B fits with that, especially when I could name about 20 guys in Melbourne I'd rather watch in the ring. I understand where you're coming from there, Andy, but at the same time, I think that having international names... Now, I understand that Famous B is not Kenta, right?
Look, honestly, we've had this discussion before. He's not an international name. He's just a name that's from another country.
Yeah, but...
Sure.
You know what I mean? This is no offense to him, but it's like he's not. If this was, and I know, like, Fresh is an amazing booker, best booker in the country, all of that. I probably would have put Sam in that spot and put Famous B in the opener. Introduce Famous B first to that crowd.
I think,
and then you can play up the Sam and Levi thing.
I think it's a case of the guy's here on holidays. He's probably going around Australia having a look at stuff. You know.
Is he here on holidays though? Because I think he works BCW a fair amount.
Does he?
I think so.
Oh.
I think he might have moved here.
So, you know, there you go. But, yeah, I don't know. Did you agree, though, there was a bit of a disconnect in the match itself?
Yeah, because there was three people that are in storylines and then Famous B.
Yeah, that could be it.
That's what the disconnect is.
But he was good. He was good. Him and Evan were nice together. I think there was an element within the crowd as well of let's just get this done.
I'm having a look at Cage Match, and the last time that Famous B had a match that wasn't in Australia was season 4 of Lucha Underground.
Yeah. So he lives here now. He must do.
Yeah. So look, I think that this is a situation where I have to acknowledge that my experience is different from a lot of people. Like Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says Famous B isn't drawing a single person as an international. He points out, I think he lives here. He's been at BCW all of this year. I forget just because I watched him on TV for years, right? On international television. But I'm not everyone, right? Not everyone was going out there seeking out Lucha Underground. And if you did, it was an awesome, fun name. But I think I have to consider that he is not the name to everyone else that I think he is. So that's a fair point. Any more thoughts about that?
Because, like you said, there was a disconnect. There was nothing wrong with the actual match. Let's just get that out of the way. There's nothing wrong with the actual match. It was just like the disconnect was that it was a guy that we hadn't, like that Renegades crowd technically have never seen this guy before. So there was no real reason for him to be in the match with Emin. There was no real incentive for him to be in there other than the fact that if he gets a win, he gets a title shot. But why does he get a title shot? Why did he get this match? We've never seen this guy before. Do you know what I mean? And I think Andy's like, there's a lot of other people around Melbourne you could have put in that position and could have really done with that little bit of a boost. That little bit of an extra like push that like he's got a title shot, even though that's like again, there's nothing wrong with the match. The match was great. Like Famous B is a good worker. There's nothing disparaging his work. It's just I don't know if he needed to be in that match.
Yeah, that's fair. Moving on though, big fight feel. The Defy World title on the line. Kenta being challenged by Gore. I mean, it seems ridiculous to say that Kenta is a good professional wrestler. Like, he's Kenta, right? I think Gore was a great pick for opponent here. I thought this match delivered. I think that Kenta could have put on much less of a match and gotten away with it on name value. And I am really pleased that he put on 12 minutes of really excellent wrestling. And Gore absolutely held up his end of the bargain, receiving a 2 sweet at the end of it from Kenta. Let's go to Todd. What did you think of this one, mate?
I will admit that when I first heard that before the news broke that it was going to be Gore and Kenta, I was like, well, that's really weird. That's not the guy I would have picked for Kenta. But really, really good match. And if anything, it's maybe helped elevate Gore a little bit more in the sort of the view of, because like he's always been good. He's always been like a good worker. He's always had a great look, but he's always been sort of like, because of the gimmick, I guess, an undergroundy guy. Whereas when you've got a big match like this with Kenta on a big stage like Renegades is, like he's going to come out of that looking a lot stronger, even though he lost the match. It was a really good match. Like he more than held up his end, as you said, Lachlan. I thought it was really good. But when I first saw it on paper, I was just like, oh, that's okay. Like for me, I would have been just like, okay, we got Kenta. Of course, he couldn't lose the match, so like that limits who you want to put in with him. So it's not like you can't go, okay, I'll do him and Emin, because you can't, because that's your champ.
You got to pick a guy who can lose but get something out of the loss.
Yeah. So straight away you think like guys like Mitch Waterman, guys of that ilk, like Jarvis, like something like that. But I really enjoyed this match. I think Gore is a great worker. I think he's a great worker, underratedly great worker.
Yeah, Jeff, as someone who was in the building for this,
this was great. Like, I think we were discussing in the build-up to it that, we're not that far removed from Kenta being rated as one of the top 2 or 3 workers in the world. Like, the guy is still a absolute force and a phenomenon. It was so good to see him live. The crowd were absolutely rabid for Kenta. Not that Gore was a heel, but just they really loved Kenta. I thought this was terrific. I liked it so much, and I liked the ending. I liked seeing the GTS live, and I liked that they kind of showed that little bit of respect afterwards. Really nice, really good match.
Yeah, really solid there. And then moving on to the main event, because believe it or not, the Defy World title being on the line was not the main event. A steel cage match, Lochy Hendricks, accompanied by Sebastian Walker, up against Gino Gambino in the cage. Lochy Hendricks managing to get the win. Gino Gambino leaving his boots in the middle of the cage as he exits. Jeff, speak to the energy in the building for this one.
I think the energy was right up there. I was standing behind G's dad, who was sitting there, and when Gino was whipping Lochy, he goes, "You did this to me, remember?" Big smile on his face. Look, this was a tremendous match that legitimately no one knew which way it was going to go. No one knew how the ending was going to come about, and I think that makes for an excellent match. There by all rights, Gino could have won, and the outcome that we got could have happened. Let's not underestimate the value of Tyson Reed in that match either. So good in that little piece he did at the end. I just love this. I thought this was a terrific match. They both bled buckets. It was an old-fashioned, almost 80s style cage match. It really had a definite heel and a definite face. And, Sebastian Walker being a complete ass clown. I liked it. I thought this was great.
Nick Galea in the chat says story plus hate plus violence equals proper pro wrestling. We also have Andy from Bob Vance Fridges in the chat saying the cage match is a great example of why I don't often rewatch shows I go to live. In the building, this had so much heat. It was so intense. I don't think it translated very well to YouTube. I really liked the look of the cage. I thought that was really good and old school. Todd, what did you think?
I've actually got a question for Jeff and maybe Andy, who was in the building. When Lochy came out, was it that quiet? Like dead silent sort of quiet when he came out to his entrance?
I don't think it was. I think there was a bit of...
Because on the video, it was very quiet when he walked out, like eerily quiet. So I don't know if that was maybe a production choice where they've muted out the crowd a little bit to make it seem like a bit more eerie or stuff like that. But
there was a bit of booing. Certainly, I'm Lachlan again, but there was a bit of booing, It wasn't as loud as it could have been, and I think that is partly because I'm not talking out of school here, but there was a second break before that match
to put the cage up, of course.
The cage, and kudos, absolute bloody kudos to the Renegades crew who got that cage up so quickly and so safely for both G and Lochy. So what I'm saying is there were probably still people who were coming in from getting drinks or having a cigarette.
No, I'm not saying it's. I wasn't actually saying that it's a bad thing, because to me that actually added to it.
Yeah, that can account for some of the silence, but absolutely, it was great. It was great.
The way they introed the guys, the way they set up this main event, made it feel like a big time main event, and not just like the video packages before. The way they introed him, like through like Lindsay doing that intro that he did for them before they came to the ring. They didn't wait for him to get into the ring before they did it and all that sort of stuff. They did that intro, but it was just like, it was eerily quiet when he walked out and tested. Like the crowd was just like, ooh, some shit's about to go down right now.
I think there was
like
also...
and Gino played the moment so very well when he walked out too.
He is
so very well. This was a great cage match.
I think that I agree with you there, and I think that Nick has said that Lochy plays the character. It's really unsettling, and it is, because everything you say about the aspirationalist is behind everything else. He's a complete sociopath. So we're seeing someone. There's another big word for you, Lachlan. You can write that down. We're seeing someone who is very, very, we don't know what he's capable of. So there is this awed silence about the Hendricks character. And full marks to both Hendricks and Walker for playing it that way. I'm really enjoying what Lochy's doing. I'm enjoying a lot about Renegades, and I thought this match was great.
Yeah, look, overall, this was an absolutely huge show. And the fact that it is, again, free on YouTube is absolutely crazy. If you're getting the podcast version of this, there's going to be a link in the description so you can check out this full show for free. Otherwise, if you want to get around it, you can just go to YouTube, search for Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence. In fact, get onto the Renegades of Wrestling YouTube channel itself, because there is a ton of good stuff there. Alex Fireheart says, I will say, well, it's not like Aussie wrestling could really abuse cage matches anyway. It is nice to hear about cage matches with some weight to them, instead of just, yeah, why not? Let's do a cage match. And Nick Galea said that he made mention of it in a review he wrote. Lochy is a character that is so over the top previously, yet the aspirationalist is played very cold, like Loverboy is the mask that slipped and this is the actual man beneath that image. Really like that assessment there. Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, Fun Time Phil deserves a shout. He sounded so nervous and unsure at the start, but he did a phenomenal job in the main event, putting over the intensity. I absolutely agree, Andy.
I said that at the start of this review. I put him over big time. I really like that. Those two as a team, I actually, and this is nothing against who's
Jules.
a normal kind Jules. Nothing against Jules at all. I really enjoyed these two as a team. I thought they were really good.
I want to make mention of what Nick has said about the Loverboy and the aspirationalist. I think that's a really, really good insight and assessment of Lochy Hendricks. I did read that review and I did like it a lot, Nick. I think we haven't seen the worst of the aspirationalist yet. We haven't seen the depths to which Lochy Hendricks will go as the aspirationalist, and it's kind of riveting.
The thing I've got to ask too, like, where does this character go? Where does this character go now, though?
I don't think this is over.
Him and Gene, because I think Tyson and Gino seem to be the thing that's going to be the go from watching that.
I think Lochy is going to become a Tyson whisperer. I think he's going to start getting into Tyson's head. I think we're going to, it's a very, very interesting character. Really, who knows where it's going to go? But Fresh and Lochy together are doing some riveting things at the moment. And of note also is Lochy's got another film coming out with a few people. So Camby's in it. You think he basically becomes Kevin Sullivan? He probably could. I'd be there for it because I think Sullivan, may he rest in peace. Lochy and I were just talking about him. Lachlan and I, sorry, we're talking about him just a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to mention last week how amazing I thought Sullivan was, and I'm really going to miss the idea that Froggy's around.
Absolutely. So once again, make sure you check out Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence for free on YouTube. And if you're in the Melbourne area, Renegades is going to be back Sunday, September 29th for Fever Pitch. Do not miss out on that. And that's not the only show you can catch if you're in the Melbourne area. Melbourne City Wrestling have been putting on consistent shows for some time now. And MCW Vendetta on Saturday, the 7th of September, looks like it is going to be absolutely cracking. Let's run through the card quickly. You've got an MCW Inter-Commonwealth Championship match with Robbie Thorpe defending against Lucky O'Leary, the Tuckman, and Jarvis. You've got Ryan Rapid versus Mitch Waterman. You've got the Natural Classics versus Carlo Cannon and Emin Osman. You've got Ricky South versus Edward Dusk. You've got the MCW Tag Team Championship on the line with the Icons defending against the Pareja. You've got the MCW Women's Championship on the line with Erica Reed defending against Kingsley. And you've got the MCW World Heavyweight Championship on the line with Slex, defending against both Caveman Ugg and Tommy Knight. Once again, that's MCW Vendetta on the 7th of September, Saturday night at the Thornbury Theatre. If you want to get tickets, mcwtix.com.au, that's mcwtix.com.au. Can't imagine there's anything left.
There's only standing room left, I think, and not very many of those at that.
And you would have to get in quick for those, I'm sure. Look, if you don't manage to get tickets, lucky you, Stream Horizon is the new home of MCW. They're exclusively streaming every MCW event from 2021 onwards. Free access to every show from 2021 to 2023. Andy from Bob Vance Fridges said they said tonight 15 tickets left. My goodness, if you are in Melbourne, absolutely get along to that.
And also, I believe it will be up on Stream Horizon the next week or the next Friday after the show. So
that's, absolutely cracking. Look, there's a lot going on around Australian wrestling, and you've got to make time to get to it because there's nothing quite like local wrestling. But there's also a lot going on around the world of international wrestling. We've got news from WWE, from AEW, from New Japan. We've got our chicken salad and our chicken shit to talk about. So we're going to be back to discuss all those things right after this.
Adrian Manera here from World Series Wrestling. We are back with our Legacy Tour. We're invading Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and the tour concludes in Sydney. Tickets go on sale Wednesday, the 11th of September at 9 a.m. Get in early, these events will sell out. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate 20 years of World Series Wrestling.
Just thought you
spoke to us this morning.
Boys, how are we doing? Slexy, how are we?
Good.
What's that?
I got a gift.
Oh, I do know.
A gift for the gift. Oh, you shouldn't have. Brooksy, you shouldn't have. Jarvis, hey, how you doing? Yeah.
Sorry, Rocky, couldn't be here to see you open it.
Oh, that's okay. I'll send a message. Oh, this is what I think it is.
You know what it is.
Oh, baby!
Look at that.
Icons, baby!
Yeah.
What size is this?
This is a medium.
Oh, shredded, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, a good program.
And Slexy, I mean, surely you've got other gifts for me, right? Like, surely it's not just the one.
You're not a champion. Time will come.
Let me give Rocky a call real quick.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, I'll give you back a second, right?
Woohoo! Wow! This is look good, doesn't it? Do I get the music as well?
Mate,
music?
You're gonna get everything. But more importantly, are you ready for this triple threat match?
I am ready.
Yeah? You're ready for the Tuck Man? You're ready for Lucky?
I am ready for those both.
So I'm just on the phone to Rocky right now, and I thought with the GM powers that I've got, I can be inserted into your match. And Rocky says it's all fine. I mean, he's on the phone right now, so he thinks it's a great idea.
Give me.
Oh, no problem.
Rocky.
Yep.
Okay.
Rocky's the boss, dude.
All right. It was a triple threat match for the Unit Commonwealth Championship.
Okay.
Jarvis, you're in the match.
Yeah.
It's now a fatal four-way. Hey, remember.
Yeah.
Robbie's the champ. He stays the champ.
Robbie's the champ. He stays the champ.
Trying to get my name on this t-shirt now, Brooksy.
One step at a time, Robbie. One step at a time.
Settle down.
Hey, icons.
Icons.
Robbie stays the champ.
Robbie stays the champ, brother.
Well, it seems I touched a nerve, Ricky, when I called you a goon for the icons. But there's no need to get so emotional or give reintroductions. I know all too well who you are. That you are undoubtedly one of the best professional wrestlers in this country. But to be the best, you have to hold the championship that is unfortunately around the waist of Slex. Now you could take it, prove everything that you claim to be true, but instead you choose to prove me right and be his little errand boy. Let me pose this to you. Do you think the icons brought you on for all the reasons that you believe, or perhaps with all the enemies that they have in MCW, they just poured honey in your ear till you would go after the person that they're too afraid to themselves? Food for thought. Let's cut to the chase. You said that you're coming for me, which is music to my ears because I was worried that you might play hard to get. But you see, Ricky, I want this fight. I don't think you do. Because I have been choked until my face turns blue. I have been beaten into the ground. I have had my flesh split open, tasted my own blood, and smiled and asked for more. You said you were coming to finish the job. I want you to try. Strike me down, and then pray to whatever God that you hold dear that I stay down. Because when I get back up, I will show you why I am the most dangerous thing in all of MCW, because you are right, I am the biggest threat to Slex's title reign, but to you, I am something much, much worse. I'm your opponent at Vendetta. I am the fate that you chose. Ask the MCW faithful what I have done to people for fun. And then think, what will I do to someone who's pissed me off?
MCW Vendetta. Triple threat match for my MCW Heavyweight Championship. Tommy Knight, Caveman Ugg, everyone's saying the odds are stacked against me. But if you haven't learnt your lesson by now, you know that the icons, we always have a plan. Now, Caveman Ugg, Tommy Knight, two of the biggest, most dominant heavyweights in this country. You guys might not know this. You actually have a lot in common. Two of the biggest heavyweights. You're both really, really stupid. You're both really dumb. You both really stink. Your hygiene is horrible. And you both have never had the MCW Heavyweight Championship. Now you can change a few things going into this triple threat match. You can read a book. You can smarten yourself up. You can try and get a plan to try and take me down. You can have a shower, you can grab some soap, you can use that, use it on your body. You might want to smell nice and get rid of that stench when you get in the ring with the business. But one thing that won't change and will never change is the fact that I will remain the MCW Heavyweight Champion. So you can try and come up with a little plan of working together and trying to take me down, but at the end of the day, the icons, we always have a business plan. And we end up on top. Icons house, Icons rules, because business is
He's become
Well-
he's become Andy Cal.
I was going to go straight into it.
By all means.
That's Dustin's promo.
Now finish your thought, Jeff. You had one. Let's go.
Yeah, I said Andy Kaufman a few years ago. Well, obviously in the 80s, cut a really famous promo where he's talking about women in Memphis going, "This is soap, soap, soap," and that like Slex saying, "They stink. Use soap. Have a shower." Just reminded me of that. I was quite amused. I've got one more apricot. If I can have this, and then we can start.
Oh, we've started, brother. Just eat away.
It's that
All right.
joke I love about the James Acaster said he bought a bunch of ready-to-eat apricots because that's what he was. Ready-to-eat apricots.
Okay, now I'm going to have to edit.
Yeah. Sorry. Got to have a cut now. And Alex Fireheart saying very much appreciate the subtitles on the Dusk promo. We love accessibility. Amen. Amen.
Good point, Alex.
Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. As always, there's a bunch of international news, and we will start with some sad stuff. Arthur Anoa'i passed away on Friday at the age of 81. His brother and his Wild Samoan tag team partner, Sika Anoa'i, passed away in June. So devastating news there that both have passed away so close to one another. Obviously, we send the best to the family. It's obviously never a fun time when someone passes away, but the age of 81 is no small feat. So, really glad for all of the great work Arthur was able to do in his career alongside Sika.
Well, I mean, the tentacles of the Anoa'i family are everywhere in pro wrestling, even down here to Australia. I know that New Horizons Pro, they have connections with Arthur and the Samoans and all of that. It's funny how sometimes that happens when you get people that are really close, like the brothers Arthur and Sika were, that not long after one passes, the other one sort of passes as well. I know, I mean, they're both like at that age of 81. I mean, it's not like they died young men. And it's great that they don't, because there's too many stories in wrestling where we lose these guys young. So massive condolences out to that whole family, because I know that would have hit them hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not just the members of the family that Arthur and Sika leave such an impact on. It's also the people they trained. Like if you look through who trained with the Wild Samoans in the later 80s and 90s, and even into the early 2000s, it's a who's who. It really is some great names and some great people. So, absolutely incredible. What a legacy they leave, and their legacy is writ large. And I think that, it speaks volumes.
Absolutely. Moving on, Pat McAfee has left WWE's Raw commentary team until January. Joe Tessitore will become an announcer for the Raw brand starting on the September 2nd edition of the show. Michael Cole is going to head to SmackDown as it moves to the USA Network on September 13th. This is not the first time that Pat McAfee has temporarily left commentary, but he does bring such a fun energy to it that obviously it's sad to see any time without him.
Yeah, he's off to do college game day, and because the NFL season's starting up as well, so it's sort of like there's a lot of work for Pat to do. Like if you follow Pat McAfee outside of what he does in WWE, he's very heavily involved in ESPN's NFL, NCAA, college football coverage. So obviously that leaves little time to go to all the different cities that Raw are on for Mondays to be able to do that show. So, but it's good that they can work out a deal where he can go off and do that and still come back and be a part of the team, because that never would have happened years ago.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the idea of rotating commentators so you don't hear the same voice week after week, I think there's something kind of nice about it. I did see Joe Tessitore did a little thing at SummerSlam. He was quite good. So I've got hopes for him.
Yeah. Well, he's a very if you follow American sports, he's a very prominent name in the commentary area in sports presenting in college sports and NFL and that sort of stuff. So massive amounts of experience coming into it. So we'll see how he's done. Unfortunately, in the past, guys that have made that jump haven't really had a lot of success.
Adam Lee, bit of a cold.
Well, yeah, Adam Lee, Adnan Verk.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of them, and hopefully Joe has better luck with it. I'm thinking he might because he doesn't have 80-something-year-old lunatic screaming in his ear.
Yep.
So we'll see how we go though. I think it'll be
Absolutely. Next Monday on Raw, we've got a few things set. We're going to begin a title to crown a number one contender for the Intercontinental title. There's also going to be the debut.
Tony Khan started booking at WWE.
The debut of Uncle Howdy, one-on-one against Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed taking on Braun Strowman. This is one that interests me because of the huge build we've had for Bronson lately to be giving him an opponent the size of Braun Strowman. If he is looking to continue his reign of dominance against Braun, that's a sign of huge things coming down the pipeline.
I mean, I think that WWE are finally seeing in Jonah Bronson, in Jonah what we've all seen for a decade and a half. He's phenomenal. He's absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy for him to be in the position he's in now. Really, really good. And I think the Intercontinental title tournament will be excellent. Yeet! Jay's already put his name in. Main event Jey Uso has already held his hand up and put his hand up for a spot. So that'll be good.
The thing with Bronson is I think that Hunter has been a fan of him since day dot. So I think it was just a matter of time and just working out things for him to get into place where they could put something behind Bronson. I know that wrestling fans, internet wrestling fans, want everything to happen like that. Everything yesterday. This should happen yesterday. Sometimes it just doesn't work like that. You put dominoes in a row, and the way it looks from a distance is that's what Hunter likes to do. He likes to put his dominoes in a row before he gets stuff done. That's why I think it's taken ages for the White Six to happen, and the way it's happening is very methodical, very planned. It's going to be very interesting to see how they debut Uncle Howdy, and hopefully it's none of this, or not a hell of a lot of this supernatural stuff, and it's just like they debuted the other three guys, and like they debuted Nikki Cross this sort of week. She sort of a little bit more, but still, I was surprised she kept the mask on. I didn't think she'd do that, but
I also like that the commentary team kind of covered that because Cole said something like, she clearly really likes that mask.
Yeah.
It kind of it gave you a reason to go, okay, Nikki likes the mask.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not a massive fan of at the moment is they really need to put something behind American Made for a little bit. Give them a little bit, because they have a great look. They have a great, they are four people that fit. Ivy Nile, the Creeds, and Chad Gable, they fit as a team. They're not like the misfit team that the Alpha Academy were. So I like this a lot more for Chad. I just hope that they put something behind him. Obviously, after this whole thing happens with Uncle Howdy, because I think they're married together. And from what I've read and from what I've seen, apparently Chad Gable loves working with them. So this is something that he's invested in. So which is always good to hear. Yeah.
And I really like that they have stretched it out this long before throwing Uncle Howdy into a match, And it's exactly like you're saying, obviously Trips has long-term plans. And like Alex Fireheart said in the chat, I mean, I generally have never felt like, WTF, why aren't they using him with Bronson? Because Bronson is a Trips guy, so you had to figure something would happen eventually. And like we said, we all know how good Bronson is. In fact, I think, Todd, you were just talking to Tommy Knight about how good Bronson is. And if anyone wants to hear that, they can find it on the Wrestle Radio Australia podcast, on the interview that Todd did with Tommy Knight, which had some excellent insight into Tommy Knight's theories about heavyweight wrestling, as well as how good people like Bronson Reed are. So quick plug there. Moving on with WWE, the WWE Bash in Berlin is happening very soon, in 9 days. It's on Saturday, August 31st. So it'll be, I'm not sure what time it'll be on in Australia, but it's got it's got 4 matches announced so far. The undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes will be defending against Kevin Owens. The WWE World Heavyweight Champion Gunther will be defending against Randy Orton. The Terror Twins, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, are taking on Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. And CM Punk and Drew McIntyre have added a stipulation. They will be having a strap match at the event. I love that stipulation for these two. What a great decision.
As long as it's not the strap match where you've got to drag everyone to a corner post. Please don't let it be that.
Yeah.
Just let it be a strap match where they pin.
They are tied together, and that's the stipulation.
Yeah,
I agree. The 4 corners thing is just boring and dull and doesn't quite work.
The 4 corners strap match feels antiquated to me. It just feels like something that when there were less gimmick matches, having any gimmick felt special. And now that there's gimmick matches everywhere you look, right, we don't need something crazy. What the strap match needs to do is go, these two have an inbuilt weapon and also can't run away from each other. They are tied at the wrist with something that they can use to hurt each other, right? And I think that's going to pay dividends.
I really like this feud so much. What kind of ruins it, and this is not a shot at the man himself, is that there were a bunch of kids at an airport and McIntyre stopped and spoke to all of them, gave them all high fives, and it's just like, no, I want you to be the guy you are on TV. But he's clearly not. He's clearly a lovely guy.
I think he's lovely to everyone but CM Punk.
CM Punk, yeah, that could be true. Or Jey Uso, let's be honest. He's not very nice to Jey.
Yes.
I think this is terrific. I think McIntyre's doing the work of his career. And I think that the old dog in CM Punk's got a few more go-arounds in him yet. But top to bottom, this is a great show. This is really, really nice. I don't think there's anything that's going to hugely upset. It's a little bit predictable. I do acknowledge that, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun getting to where they're going.
I want to jump in on the Drew bandwagon here and say that him on Twitter is one of the funniest things in the world because he is just a dedicated CM Punk hater. The other day, there was a tweet that said, the haters said I couldn't do it, and they were correct. Honestly, great call from the haters. And he retweeted that as a CM Punk speech bubble. Like, that's just so good. And it was a screenshot of CM Punk having lost a match. Like, superb stuff, superb hating from him. Moving over to the other company, AEW have had a title change. I mean, I guess unsurprisingly, because there's so many titles there, some of them have to change at some point. Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes winning the Ring of Honor tag team titles on AEW Collision. That makes it AEW news, not Ring of Honor news, because it happened on Collision. They defeated the United Kingdom. That makes Dustin Rhodes a double champion in Ring of Honor, because he's also got the 6-man titles with the Von Erichs. Jeff, thoughts?
Is Ring of Honor still going? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks.
It's going on Collision, apparently.
And defending it on an AEW show. Have I said get your hand off it, Tony, yet this week?
Let's talk about what the future
it's not like,
of...
sorry, before we carry on, it's not even like... I love Dustin Rhodes. I think Dustin Rhodes is great. The fact that, like, they never really gave Undisputed Kingdom anything with meat on it to be able to build up a tag title sort of reign at all. Every time I saw them, they were losing. I don't recall seeing them win a match, to be honest with you. And to have them lose those tag titles on Collision, which, let's face it, is like the B-C show. Like, Collision and Rampage are really much like the B and B1 shows. Then there's not really any difference. And to make, like, a dude that's... I don't know how old Dustin is, but he'd be in his, late 40s?
Early 50s, I think.
Early 50s? Okay.
Early
to have, like, that guy have 2 titles in a company, and I say company in inverted quotes, that are supposed to be, like, the developmental for AEW, because let's face it, that's basically what...
55. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's 55.
So, to have that guy have a title in a company that is, or let's just say a division of a company that is pretty much the NXT for AEW. I don't think there's much arguing that it's not. You can't say it's a separate brand. You can't say it's a totally different company.
It's NXT loaded for AEW. It's not NXT.
So, I just think, like, it's cool that he's holding tag titles with the Von Erichs. I think that's awesome to have a Rhodes and a Von Erich in lineage holding titles. I think that's pretty sweet. Like, Sammy Guevara's been back for less than a cup of coffee. So they've done nothing to really earn those tag title shots. I think that was the first time they'd even teamed.
Mm-hmm.
So, just... Yeah, it was a match to have a title change on a show that not very many people watched.
Tony, come here. Join me in this camera. Tony, are you listening? Write a story to make me care about it. Tony? Great.
He's not listening, clearly. He's busy trying on hats.
AEW All In 2025 has been announced to not be taking place at Wembley Stadium. It's going to take place in Texas. Yeah! It was announced this week that All In 2025 will take place from Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas on Saturday, July the 12th. This means nothing to me.
It means that they've got till July 12 next year to sell a stadium show in America.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. But speaking of All In, let's run through the card for All In, which is happening this weekend, Sunday, August 25th from London's Wembley Stadium. It's going to have AEW champion Swerve Strickland in a title versus career match against Bryan Danielson. It's going to an AEW Women's World Championship match. Toni Storm defending against Mariah May. AEW American champion MJF will defend against Will Ospreay. The TNT champion Jack Perry will defend his new belt against Darby Allin in a coffin match. In a London ladders match for the AEW trio titles, the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne will defend against the Bang Bang Gang, the House of Black, and to be decided on Collision. AEW tag team titles.
Can I just like, because you're gonna motor through it, so I just want to pull up on this one, right? Why the fuck are they adding another team when you've got these 3 teams that are actually? Because they want people to watch Collision. Because they want people to watch Collision. That's why. That's 1,000% why. They've done it. There's another qualifying match for the Gauntlet on Collision as well, because they just want people to watch Collision, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, like, the idea is to try and get people to watch your shows. But like that triple, the trios thing, there was no reason to add a 4th team in that, because those 3 teams, there was a story with those 3 teams. So here we've got these 3 teams with a story, and this 3 guys, which we don't know who they're going to be just yet.
Larry, Curly, and Mo. Keep going.
Moving on, the AEW tag team titles are going to be defended finally by the Young Bucks against the Acclaimed and FTR. TBS champion Mercedes Moné will defend against Britt Baker. A Casino Casino Gauntlet match will happen for a future AEW World title shot. The FTW Championship is going to be on the line with Chris Jericho defending against Hook. And on the 0 Hour, Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii will take on Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, with the winners getting to pick the stipulation to the Nightingale-Statlander CMLL Women's title match at All Out. Wow. That is a lot of matches. I'm lucky I got to catch my breath halfway through because both halves were exhausting to read. And once again, these all have either a title on the line or ramifications for title matches. Every match.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to talk quickly about Jack Perry's new TNT Championship. Just because I haven't been loving anything Jack Perry's been doing, and the new belt design I thought was kind of mid. It's like very black with a splatter of red.
He did arts and crafts though.
And then I saw that Jack Perry did arts and crafts, and I thought that was kind of neat. He actually like made a mold and smelted the metal himself to make that title.
You did realize that you did notice that wasn't the belt, right?
Yes.
That was a replica belt that he took apart. Like, if you're going to do that and make it seem like it's the belt, don't have a complete shot of the stamp saying replica belt.
Also, if you want to make it look real, don't then have the original belt not destroyed to put in a body bag the show, right?
Yes, another good point.
Like, very, very obvious there. Look, Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, this is the first time in years that I'm having to think about whether to buy an AEW pay-per-view. Aside from Tony versus Mariah and Swerve versus Danielson, this kind of sucks. And they got more expensive. Yeah, absolutely.
Can we just mention the absolute abhorrent decline of the AEW tag titles? This is appalling. This is just so bad. You know, if you're going to defend it by going, oh, but titles are just props and they don't matter. They matter as much as a company makes them matter.
Yeah.
And AEW do not give two flying fucks about their tag team titles, which should be important and should be relevant. Because when AEW started, WWE had no tag division. Now AEW have been going for a while. WWE's is the only tag division. Todd, you were going to speak.
No, so I will say something I thought I would never say is that, like, back-to-back weeks now, I've seen 2 bad FTR matches.
Yeah.
Two objectively bad. Like, that match against the Outrunners was fucking horrible. And it wasn't because of FTR. Those Outrunners are fucking terrible.
I think
they've got a great look. They've got a great gimmick. They've got a very 90s tag team gimmick. They are fucking horrid when the bell rings. And when you've got a team like FTR that can't fucking carry that, that's bad. When you are that bad that FTR can't carry you, you're pretty bad. And then this week with the Acclaimed, that was a half an hour match that felt like it went for 90 years. Like, even my wife was going, "Is this match still going?" There was a point where one of the ring announcer goes 5 more minutes, and my wife's like, "Why?"
I think that the problem is, you know, there's just no direction in these shows. Absolutely not. And FTR themselves, they clearly don't care anymore.
No, they do.
Really
they do care. They do care. But how do you? It's hard when you're given what you're given to do. Like Dax has a rah-rah speech promo every 2-3 weeks. Like, he's trying. You can tell that dude is trying. Like, he's trying to do what we call our show.
It must be really, really hard for a lot of in defense of a lot of the AEW regular wrestlers. It must be really difficult because they're just not drawing people. They're not. And to face the non-hard cam and see, a couple of hundred in a venue that has thousands and thousands, it must be really demeaning. Really.
Oh, the check clears.
That's
sorry,
it.
Sorry, I missed that.
Let the check clears.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something other than AEW then. Over in New Japan, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Todd's prediction was correct. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Yota Tsuji in the finals to win the G1 Climax this past weekend in an absolutely phenomenal final 3 matches. And ZSJ officially isn't waiting until Wrestle Kingdom to get his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship shot. NJPW has confirmed that Sabre will challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at King of Pro Wrestling 2024 on October 14th. It'll likely be Tetsuya Naito versus Sabre for the championship, though Naito needs to retain against Great Okan in their title match at New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction in Kobe next month. As the G1 Climax winner, Sabre earned the right to challenge for the world title at Wrestle Kingdom 19 next January, but he decided to go against tradition by declaring that he wanted his title shot at King of Pro Wrestling instead. He said that Sumo Hall, where King of Pro Wrestling is being held, is his favorite venue to wrestle in, and he wants to be IWGP champion when New Japan returns to London for its Royal Quest event this October. Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, hell of a weekend for TMDK with Robbie and Jag also getting pins. Alex Fireheart says, best I've been told, this has been a shtick for Zach for years, so this isn't out of nowhere. I don't mind this decision.
I fucking hate it.
Tell us why, Todd.
Well, because it's not just about getting the IWGP title match. It's about getting it at Wrestle Kingdom. It would be like Shawn Michaels winning the Royal Rumble and saying, I don't want to wait till WrestleMania. Give me my shot at Elimination Chamber. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not so much like it's the title shot, yeah, but it's where the title shot is on their biggest show of the year and their biggest venue and their biggest. It's the cachet that comes with winning that G1. It's why you went through a month of match after match after match.
Andy from Bob Vance Fridges saying Todd's forgetting that Cena did that one year.
I'm forgetting or not, it doesn't mean it was still fucking good. Just because someone did it doesn't mean it's fucking good. You don't give up a WrestleMania. You don't give up a Wrestle Kingdom main event. You just don't.
I think my problem with this is the precedent it sets as much as anything else, because you go through the G1 and then you get it's about Wrestle Kingdom. It's about that name. The only reason I can think this is happening is Naito is in that much pain that basically they've had to accelerate it. It's the only thing I can honestly think, because there's no way Zach would be happy. You know, it's not like the Cody decision earlier on this year, but is it a good one? I don't like it either. I think it's got to be about Wrestle Kingdom, because that's where moments happen, and I think it's just for Naito that it's got to be sooner.
Look, Keanu's saying Okada versus ZSJ at Wrestle Kingdom. There's a story there too.
Yeah, but that means Okada would have to work, and he's given that up. He's decided he's not doing that anymore.
Andy says, I think you're onto something, Jeff. I think it's getting the belt off Naito and giving him a rest.
Yeah.
I think that, and look, I pitched recently the idea of a Royal Rumble winner. What was it? No, the Money in the Bank winner, like saying, I want this to be at WrestleMania. Yes. Like, I fully agree with the idea of going, the big show is the moment, and I'm achieving that moment. But I think that there is logic to a Zack Sabre Jr. character saying, I'm the best wrestler in the world. I know I'm the best wrestler in the world. I'm going to win the IWGP Championship and hold it through Wrestle Kingdom. So what does it matter if my Wrestle Kingdom match is a title defense or winning the title? Either way, I'm walking out of Wrestle Kingdom main event as champion. Like,
you know what, though? Like, over your career, if you're a really good wrestler like Zack Sabre Jr. is, he will get reasonably multiple chances at a World Heavyweight Championship. There is not a lot of chances you'll get at main eventing a Wrestle Kingdom. You have to win a G1 every year or be the champion to go into Wrestle Kingdom for that title. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot harder than getting in essence, it's a lot harder than just getting a world title shot.
Yeah,
because
it
you
is.
can get you can pin Naito during G1 and you'll get a title.
Great Khan's got a title shot.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's a difference between getting a title shot and getting a title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. There's a difference between getting a WWE World Heavyweight title shot or getting a WWE World Heavyweight title shot at WrestleMania. It's the difference between getting an AEW title shot or getting an AEW title shot at All In Wembley. Like, there's a cachet to it.
I agree with you, Todd, but I don't think you would be able to convince the character Zack Sabre Jr. of that, which is why I'm okay with it.
I'm not, but I do think it's because Naito is...
Yeah, I think it is probably the Naito thing. But yeah, and what are you going to do? Give it to O'Khan and have O'Khan, Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Kingdom?
Yes.
Zach could get a good match out of Lachlan, so it's not impossible.
That's very true. And look, that would truly be making chicken salad out of chicken shit if he was able to do that. So let's talk about what the show is all about. We're going to talk about what we didn't like and what we did like from wrestling over the past week. Jeff, take it away with a chicken shit. Let's be negative for a minute.
Every bit of chicken shit you could possibly think of,
all
mate,
of
so no one else can talk about anything.
I mean, I guess, you know, not to hark on something that I've already covered, but I guess it's that absolute lack of respect to a title that a few years ago were defended in some absolute bangers, even by the Young Bucks. The God knows the cage match against the Lucha Brothers is one of my favorite matches AEW's produced. Absolute garbage. Like, it's so over the top, but it was a great match. And to see tag belts treated that way, like, if this was WWE, when WWE had two belts they felt weren't going anywhere in the NXT Women's Championships, tag championships, they got rid of them. If this was WWE, those tag belts would be long gone by now. If you are not defending your tag belts for 4 months, it doesn't just insult the wrestlers in the ring, it insults the company and insults the fans. And I don't think that's a good look.
I necessarily don't think it's on the Young Bucks either.
Sorry, Todd, you
I said I don't necessarily think it's the Young Bucks either.
No, I think they've given them nothing to do.
I think it's Tony, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd, chicken shit.
Okay, I've got a couple. I got one that's like an extended one, so like I'll use that one last. Tony Storm and Saraya today on Dynamite did one of the worst exchanges of catch-can wrestling I think I've seen in a very long time. Like, you can go online. I'm pretty sure that I've seen it up there a couple of times. I would put it up here, but we would get taken off for copyright because they're very stringent on that. It was absolutely shocking. I'm surprised how bad it was. Like, I couldn't believe it when I got sent it by Welshie. He's like, look at this. And I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, so that was terrible. That was shit. Another one goes back to what we were talking about before when we talked about the Ring of Honor tag titles. They got changed hands on Collision. And I commented on something that Kate from Fightful had written, and Kate answered back, and I was like, I'm just wondering how many times that those like ROH titles have been like changed hands not on ROH TV as opposed to on ROH programming. And somebody out there, and I'll give him a shout out because like he's the one who compiled all of this, so like I'm not going to say that I did extensive research and combed through hours of cage match, but Kyle Sparks at bodyslam.net is at Kyle K Sparks. Give him a follow if you want. He went through and actually looked at all of these things, right? So in total, all ROH titles, 55 defenses on ROH TV, 0 title changes, 28 defenses of the AEW TV title. 28 defenses on AETV, 8 title changes. 26 titles, defenses on pay-per-view, Ring of Honor pay-per-view, 7 title changes. 11 defenses of ROH titles on AEW pay-per-views, 1 title change. 2 defenses in other promotions, New Japan and CMLL, and there's been 1 title change. So a ROH title has never changed hands on ROH TV. It has changed hands 8 times on ROH TV, on AEW TV, in 28 shots. Whereas there's been 55 on ROH TV, and not one title's changed hands on that. That's not how you do a promotion. I'm sorry. And I know that Tony thinks that ROH would have more value if it was called AEW ROH. I have no idea why he thinks that.
No.
Anyway, that were my chicken shits. And I apologise for going heavy with the stats there.
All right, Alex Fireheart says their chicken shit, not a huge one, but kind of hope Naito gets a new finisher to use in place of the Destino. I will admit I haven't seen all of his G1 matches, but the ones I have seen where he hit a Destino, he messed up most of them. Even when he heals up, he might need a finisher switch.
Oh, yeah, the one he tried against John Moxley at Forbidden Door should have told you to stop using that move.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure he's coming back.
Which is sad because I love Naito. Naito was my favorite.
Too,
when I got into New Japan, Naito was my favorite New Japan worker.
It's great. He's brilliant, but he can't keep going that style.
No,
like those matches against Ospreay. You watch some of those matches against Ospreay, and they're both shortening their careers by about 3 years each.
I'm going to have the same chicken shit I did last week. Because it got worse, I think. And that was to have Kazuchika Okada defend a championship against Claudio Castagnoli on a fucking Wednesday. And then not only that, have it go to a time limit draw, have the Bucks tease extending the match, and then not. What the fuck? If the pitch is that we want this match to happen presumably at All Out, because, God, you cannot cram another title match onto that All In card, surely. So it's got to be at All Out, right? Then just fucking book a program between the two of them. Right? Don't have them go to a time limit draw on Wednesday fucking night and waste most of the match that would be the title match. Just have them wrestle the title match. It seems, it's so ridiculous to me. Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says the Naito Ibushi matches were ridiculous, seeing how far they could go without breaking their necks. They're both unfortunately reaping what they've sown. Yeah, hard to argue with that, Andy, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Let's be a bit more positive, though. Jeff?
I just want to say one thing in response to your chicken shit, Lachlan, and that is, where have you been the last 3 years? We've seen this consistently in the last 3 years. These things aren't going to change.
And the big thing is, I want to be excited for it.
Allen, so on and so forth. Just keep shoving them down our throats. We're happy.
Yeah, it's matches that I wish I cared about. Like, that's the thing, is that if you'd told me 4 years ago that match was happening, I would have exploded. And it just is something that I don't care to watch, and that's so disappointing. Let's turn it more positive. Jeff, what's your chicken salad for the week?
Okay, there's a couple, and not to steal Todd's, because he'll go.
I've got a very specific one, so if you pick it, I swear to God,
it'll be hilarious. My chicken salad is Dominic Mysterio on Logan Paul's podcast, and just
it was so good,
fucking needling the asshole, just going, "Oh, where's your little hat?" Dominic clearly doesn't like Logan Paul one iota, which is excellent, and he just sat there with a huge grin on his face, and he needled and needled. And when he
didn't I mention this to you a couple of weeks ago? I think I did when it was just two of us. I talked about it, and I told him that he was. When I said he was teasing him about, can you go to Japan? Yes, I can go to Japan. Oh,
yeah, you did. You mentioned it. I finally watched it this week, and it was so good. It was so funny just to watch him go to work. He broke him down. Like, there was one point where Logan Paul went, "Oh no, that's not funny anymore." Like, he was really getting affected by it. Really, really good. And the other thing that I liked this week specifically, again, NXT. what a banger of a show. Subtle heel work from the Academy, which I'm kind of there for. That's nice.
Absolutely. Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says that his chicken salad is just to touch on that upcoming MCW show again. It might be the best card that he's seen since before COVID, which is wild after they just lost their biggest star. That's an absolutely great point. That card is so stacked. Meanwhile, Alex Fireheart, they say chicken salad. Zack Sabre Jr. saying, Ogawa-san, I fucking did it. When he won the G1, almost made me cry, especially given Ogawa was forced to retire due to injury recently. Yeah, that's really nice and sweet. Like, you love when wrestlers really know how to stick the knife in on what they're doing. It makes such a difference. Todd, chicken
and of course, just before you pass to Todd, I mean the G1 semi-finals and final, absolute chicken salad. Like yum 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 yum. Give me more of that.
Todd.
It was a match on Raw this week, Dunn and Sheamus. I really enjoyed it, especially the little bit of inventiveness of having like Sheamus's hand in the turnbuckle, and that's how he stopped Sheamus from hitting him for a while, so he could just I love that. I thought like it's because like Dunn does these little things every now and then that you just don't see, you haven't seen. Like different ways to hurt people, different ways to catch people in something that you just don't see that often. I love that shit. I thought that was really good, and I'm also liking the way that Orton and Volta or Gunter are shaping up. Just the little niggling things and all of that sort of stuff.
My only issue with the Sheamus Dunn match is I don't think Sheamus should have won. I think Pete Dunne should have won that.
Yeah, that's fair. I can understand.
I just realized I forgot one of my chicken shits, so I'm just going to throw it in really quickly. I don't like the Tiger Driver being used as a storyline point, as it was in AEW with Danielson telling Zack Sabre Jr. to use the Tiger Driver. I don't like that.
It's been the whole theme of the whole thing, so...
I know, Zack Sabre or Ospreay?
Ospreay, sorry. Yeah, my bad. But my chicken salad, I mean, obviously has to be, I think the
me winning the G1 predictions. Thanks, bro.
Sure.
Thanks, mate.
Attached to that, other than the fact that we had to deal with Todd being right about it, the semifinals and the final of the G1 were absolutely stonking. I think that the Takagi ZSJ match might actually have been my favorite one. That good. One was unreal. And then Tsuji ZSJ closely behind it. Just killer matches. Really good.
Was that the Tsuji the ZSJ one that I predicted? Was it that
yes,
one? Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
And
just checking.
I want to say Takagi is just there's something so special. And also Takeshita got great books. Like if you want to look at the G1 as a whole, there's so many great moments coming out of it. It was a fantastic. It felt like a G1 NJPW needed to have, because if they didn't, they were going to lose even more viewers. But
see, like, I don't know why. Like, I know why they gave it to Naito, but I don't know why you just hadn't put the belt on Shingo for an extended run. I just don't know why. Because he's a great worker, in his prime. Like Naito is clearly we can all see he's clearly past his prime. Amazing athlete in his time. It just like Shingo is it. Shingo's it in a bit. Like put the belt on him and have him go into Wrestle Kingdom against Zack Sabre Jr. That's a fucking main event.
Yeah.
I'll also throw in as a chicken salad a match that I haven't seen all of yet. I've only seen clips, so I need to sit down and get a full copy of it. But from the Marigold show, Julia versus Mai Sakurai. That has some stuff in it. So I'm excited to watch that. And once again, I want to throw out just some of the stuff that's been happening in the answer to the G1 from Stardom. Some of the move innovations that we've seen have been ballistic. I saw someone doing a poison rana from the top rope to a standing opponent, which was insane. And also what I saw someone call a tiger destroyer. So like setting up into pedigree position into a Canadian destroyer. Just insanity coming out of Stardom at the moment.
How's Old Love from AEW doing in that?
She's doing okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm not 100% up on the standings, but my understanding is she's got some wins and some losses, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I'm more like interested in what the actual matches were like, not if she won or lost.
I haven't seen
her
matches, unfortunately. Okay. Alex Fireheart says additional chicken salad. All Japan actually managed to swerve me with Yuma Ayagi beating Yuma Anzai for the Triple Crown. I was so confident. Oh, man.
You went real quick. That's why you spin into the corner. Don't spin into the corner, brother.
No, that's right.
New host next week. We're done with this guy.
Alex Fireheart says, Gato, do the right thing. Steal Takeshita away. And Andy from Bob Vance Fridges says, from what I've seen, Xena is killing it too. We're usually great at shouting out Aussies, but she goes under the radar a bit. Yeah, that's a great call, Andy. Really good call there. And we do like shouting out Aussies here. It's what we're all about. So if you want to hear those shout outs for Aussies, make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia. You can do it at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. That's where we're here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. going live. But you can also do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts and you can give us a 5-star review, that really helps us get across to more people. And you can also, grab some merch if you want. Head to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. The proceeds don't go to us. They go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, two awesome charities that support men's mental health, especially in Australia. And you can also follow our social media at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram, Wrestle Radio Australia on Facebook, where we're also live every Thursday night. You can follow Todd at Beast Eastman. You can follow me at Lachlan Albert. You can follow Jeff at Jeff_Seti. You can also follow at Wrestle_Brainia. What's going on there, Jeff?
As we announced last week, we are heading to Geelong as part of the Melbourne Cup long weekend. We will be 1:30 at Bees Bar on the 2nd and 3rd of November. The act announcements are going to be phenomenal. We can't wait to bring them to you. Go to the Geelong Comedy Festival website, grab yourselves a ticket. We look forward to seeing you there. And somewhere else sooner than that, but you'll find out about it soon enough.
Interesting. Todd, have you got anything else to mention before we go?
No.
Right.
No, I don't.
Once again, if you heard that review of Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence, and want to check the show out, if you're listening to the podcast version, there's a link in the description, or you can head to YouTube and search for Renegades of Wrestling, We Choose Violence, and you'll get it there for free. Absolutely worth a watch. But with that said, until next time, that's been Jeff Seti, that's been Todd Eastman, I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
Trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit.